The title "You Mad" suggests confrontation and anger, but this EP might be the calmest, most methodical documentation of social patterns I've ever encountered.
That's such an interesting contradiction. When I first heard about it, I was expecting raw emotion, but instead, we got this incredibly measured approach that's almost scientific in its precision.
Well, the timing of this release really demonstrates something fascinating about cultural documentation. They're capturing this specific moment where certain patterns are undeniable, but still being actively denied. It's like photographing smoke before anyone admits there's a fire.
And they're doing it in such a calculated way. The legal framework they've built around it is actually genius. No false statements, purely transformative commentary, focusing on impact rather than allegations.
You know what's really clever about that approach? They've turned those legal constraints into creative strengths. Instead of limiting the message, these boundaries actually make it more powerful because everything has to be so precise.
Speaking of precision, can we talk about how they're using multiple versions of the same track with different voices? The Architect version, Last Train North, Raw Intent, BlackLatino. It's like a controlled experiment in perspective.
Exactly right. And what's fascinating is how they're using these different versions to reveal listener bias. If people react differently to the same exact words from different voices, well, that tells us something pretty significant about the audience, doesn't it?
That track, Human in the Loop, really caught my attention. The way it addresses both AI accountability and broader power structures is so relevant to what's happening right now in tech and society.
Well, that's what makes this project so sophisticated. It's operating on multiple levels simultaneously. When they say tools don't decide ethics, people do, they're not just talking about technology, they're talking about responsibility in any system where accountability gets diffused.
And they're demonstrating these principles in the actual production, right? Using AI-generated narration while being completely transparent about it. That's practicing what they preach.
You know what's really striking about this whole approach? They've managed to create something that's simultaneously documentation and art. It's preserving a moment in time while transforming how we think about that moment.
The way they handle potential criticism is pretty brilliant too. By focusing on behaviors and patterns, rather than specific individuals or institutions, they've made it almost impossible to dismiss as a personal attack.
And let's talk about how they're using repetition and variation. Each version of You Mad brings out different nuances, different cultural contexts, but the core message stays rock solid. It's like they're proving the universality of their observations through diversity of expression.
So, what do you think about their timing strategy? Why now specifically?
Well, they've identified this perfect window where denial is still possible, but becoming increasingly difficult to maintain. It's not too early where they could be dismissed as alarmist, and not too late where they'd just be stating the obvious. They're creating a time capsule of a tipping point.
That temporal awareness really elevates the whole project from commentary to historical documentation.
And here's what I find most powerful about their educational approach. Instead of lecturing, they're creating this space for self-reflection. The education happens through the listener's own realizations rather than direct instruction.
That's such a sophisticated way to handle complex topics. By making the audience part of the process rather than passive recipients, they're creating much more lasting impact.
Looking at the bigger picture, this project really demonstrates a deep understanding of how change happens, not through confrontation or accusation, but through clear documentation and thoughtful presentation of evidence. It's building a case for future historians while speaking to present-day listeners.
Well, that's what makes it so effective. It's not about anger at all, is it? It's about awareness, documentation, and creating a record that can't be easily dismissed or denied.